So last class we saw the derivation for LMTD for parallel flow heat exchangers. Today we are going to see the same derivation for counter flow heat exchanger, and this derivation will be very similar to the previous one. Only a few minor changes will be there. We will see what those changes are. So from examination point of view, if you are preparing one of the derivations, the other one will be automatically done because all the steps are same. Only you need to make a few minor changes. So this was parallel flow heat exchanger. In parallel flow heat exchanger, both the fluids were flowing in the same direction, the hot fluid and the cold fluid. They were entering the heat exchanger from the same side. So this is entry of the hot fluid. This is entry of the cold fluid. As hot fluid was flowing through the heat exchanger, its temperature was dropping down and the exit temperature is TH2. As the cold fluid was entering the heat exchanger, as it is flowing through the heat exchanger, it will be taking heat from the hot fluid and its temperature will be continuously increasing. So the exit temperature for this cold fluid that is equal to Tc2 and it is higher than the inlet temperature. Now if we will see the same temperature variation in case of counter flow heat exchanger, it is going to look something like this. Here the hot fluid and the cold fluid will be flowing in the opposite directions. So the hot fluid is flowing from left to right and the cold fluid is flowing from right to left. This is the inlet for the hot fluid. It is given by TH1. So if the inlet of hot fluid is from this side, the cold fluid will be entering from the opposite side. Outlet of hot fluid is over here. Temperature is given by TH2. As the hot fluid will be flowing through the heat exchanger, it will be giving heat to the cold fluid and the temperature for the hot fluid that will be dropping down continuously. Similarly for the cold fluid, as it is entering from this side, as it will be flowing through the heat exchanger, it will be taking heat from the hot fluid and temperature for the cold fluid that will be increasing continuously and the exit temperature is given by Tc2. Any doubt till this part?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now here if we talk about the temperature difference which is available for heat transfer, so always the temperature difference which is available for heat transfer that is given by Th minus Tc. So at this particular section of the heat exchanger, the temperature difference is given as theta 1. At this section, the temperature difference is given as theta 2. If we will see in this particular case, we are getting that theta 1 value is equal to Th1 minus Tc2 and here theta 2 value is Th2 minus Tc1. But if we will recall our previous case, the case of parallel flow heat exchanger, in that case, this temperature was Th1 and this temperature was Tc1. So for the previous derivation, the theta 1 value was equal to Th1 minus Tc1. In this case, theta 1 value is Th1 minus Tc2. So this is the first change. Again, theta 2 value is also not the same. In this case, theta 2 value is Th2 minus Tc1. In the previous case, it was Th2 minus Tc2. Is that difference clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to use the same procedure what we considered for the previous derivation. We are going to consider one small elemental area on the heat exchanger. So this is the area which we have considered. The area is given by dA. We are going to analyze the rate of heat transfer for this particular area and then we will integrate and find out the total rate of heat transfer. Now if we are considering this area, always our analysis will be from left to right, from the first section to the second section. We are not going to consider the direction of flow for analysis. Always the analysis will be from first section to the second section. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we are considering our analysis from first section to second section, this is our positive direction. So if I am talking about the temperature of the hot fluid in the positive direction, it is increasing or decreasing. This is the positive direction
Decreasing.
for me. In this direction, temperature of the hot fluid is increasing or decreasing.
Decreasing.
Interesting, sir.
Okay, it is dropping down. The temperature is decreasing. If the temperature is decreasing, for this area dA, dTh value will be positive or negative. This is the drop in
Negative,
temperature across the area dA.
Negative.
This is
Negative,
going,
sir.
okay. This is going to be negative because the temperature is dropping down in the positive direction of analysis. So our direction of analysis is from left to right. This is our positive direction of analysis from section 1 to section 2, or we can say from left to right. When we were talking about the hot fluid, the temperature of the hot fluid on left side, that is TH1. On the right side, it is TH2. Which temperature is higher? TH1 is higher.
TH1.
Okay. So as
TH1.
good as we are moving from left to right, the temperature of the hot fluid is dropping in the positive direction. So this DTH value, we are getting this as negative.
Negative.
Again, when we are considering the cold fluid, what is the temperature of the cold fluid on left side?
TC2.
TC2 is the temperature on the left side. Temperature on the right side is TC1. Which value is higher, TC2 or TC1?
TC2, sir. TC2.
TC2.
TC2 is higher. So in this case also, if I am moving from left to right, the temperature of the cold fluid is also dropping down. So this DTC value is also going to be negative. Is this part clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the second difference between the previous derivation and this derivation. If we will go back to the previous derivation, here you can see that in the positive direction of analysis, DTH is negative and DTC is positive because the temperature of cold fluid is increasing in the positive direction. Temperature of hot fluid is decreasing in the positive direction. Is this clear? This was for the previous derivation.
Yes, sir.
And this is for the current derivation. For the current derivation, both the terms are negative. DTH and DTC both are negative. Is this part clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now again we will go to the analysis. We are going to use the same steps what we used for the previous derivation. So we have Q, it is the total rate of heat transfer. It can be given by heat lost by the hot fluid, also equal to heat gained by the cold fluid, also equal to rate of convection in the heat exchanger. Now heat lost by the hot fluid is given by mc delta T. M is mass flow rate of hot fluid, small ch is specific heat of hot fluid, TH1, TH2 are inlet and outlet temperatures. This delta T should be taken such that it is positive. So we are doing higher temperature minus lower temperature. TH1 was the higher temperature, TH2 is the lower temperature. So MC TH1 minus TH2. The product MHCH is given as capital CH. Small c is called as specific heat and capital C is called as heat capacity. This was discussed in the previous derivation as well. So any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay. Similarly, heat gained by the cold fluid can be given by capital CC, TC2 minus TC1, and it is equal to rate of heat convection. So rate of heat convection is given by HA delta T. In our case, the H value is equal to capital U. We are calling it as overall heat transfer coefficient. Area is total area of the heat exchanger. Over this entire area, this delta T term is not constant. So we are considering a mean temperature difference, and the mean temperature difference is given as theta M. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now this was about the total rate of heat transfer. Now we are going to consider the small elemental area which we had considered. Through that small element or through that small area, the rate of heat transfer dQ can be given by again three different formulae. First is heat lost by the hot fluid, heat gained by the cold fluid, and rate of heat convection through the heat exchanger. So if we are talking about heat lost by the hot fluid, it is equal to mc delta T. The product mc is written as capital C, and delta T term in our case is DTH. This DTH value is positive or negative?
Negative, sir.
Negative, sir.
Since it is negative, we are putting a minus sign here. So dQ is equal to minus CH DTH, so that this heat transfer term is positive. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, it is equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. So again, this DTC term is also negative. So we are putting minus CC DTC. We are putting a minus sign because DTC is also negative. This minus was not there in the previous derivation because in the previous derivation DTC was positive. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this thing is equal to U multiplied by dA multiplied by TH minus TC, and this TH minus TC is equal to what?
Theta.
Theta. So we
Theta.
can write U dA multiplied by theta. Now we are going to find out DTH and DTC using these relations as we did for the previous derivation as well. So DTH value is equal to, consider these two equations. Consider this equation. So from this equation, we are getting DTH is equal to minus DQ divided by capital CH. DTH is equal to minus DQ divided by capital CH. And we can substitute the value of DQ from this particular equation. So DQ is equal to UDA multiplied by theta. So we are getting DTH is equal to minus UDA theta divided by CH. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay. Similarly, consider these two expressions. DQ is equal to minus CC DTC. From these two expressions, we get that DTC is equal to minus DQ divided by CC. Again, substitute the value of DQ from this expression. So DQ is equal to UDA theta. We are doing the same thing, substituting the value of DQ over here. So DTC is equal to minus UDA theta divided by CC. Once we find out DTH and DTC individually, we are going to subtract both of them and we are going to find out DTH minus DTC. So if you will see TH minus TC is given as theta. If you will differentiate both the sides, we can write that DTH minus DTC will be equal to d theta. So this term DTH minus DTC we will be writing as theta. Sorry, d theta. If you will subtract these two equations, we are going to get DTH minus DTC is equal to minus UDA theta divided by CH minus of minus UDA theta divided by capital CC. Here what we can do, we can take minus UDA theta common because minus UDA theta is existing in both the terms. So if you are taking minus UDA theta common, from here this minus sign will be gone, UDA theta will be gone. And what are we left with? We are left with 1 on the numerator side. Similarly, here you can take minus UDA theta outside. Here also we will be left with 1. So we have minus UDA theta outside, 1 by CH minus 1 by CC. Is this expression clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now here we are getting a differential equation. In order to solve the differential equation, we are going to use variable separation method. So bring all the terms of theta on one side. If we will do that, we will be getting d theta by theta is equal to minus u multiplied by 1 by ch minus 1 by cc multiplied by dA. Can we write like this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to integrate both the sides. If you will integrate this side, everything is variable. So we are going to put the integration sign here. On this side, u is a constant term. This was one of our assumptions. Capital CH, capital CC is also constant. That is also part of assumptions that specific heat is constant, mass flow rate is constant, and hence heat capacity will also be constant. So capital CH and capital CC is constant. Hence this entire term is constant. We can put the integration sign here. We can take those two terms outside the integral value. Limit for theta will be from theta 1 to theta 2. And limit for area will be from 0 to capital A. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay. So same thing has been written on the next slide. D theta by theta, we are integrating it. So limit is from theta 1 to theta 2. For the other term, minus u 1 by ch minus 1 by cc has been taken outside the integral. We are integrating area term and the limit is from 0 to capital A. Integrate both the sides, put the limits. So on the left hand side, we are getting ln theta 2 by theta 1 after putting the limits. And on the right hand side, we will be getting u multiplied by 1 by ch minus 1 by cc multiplied by integral of dA, which will be equal to capital A. After putting the limits, it will be a minus 0 and it is going to remain capital A. So any doubt in this step?
No, sir.
Okay. So till now the derivation is similar to the previous derivation only. Same steps were followed for the previous derivation as well. Now in the previous derivation we substituted the value of 1 by ch and 1 by cc. So here also we are going to do the same thing. To find the values for 1 by ch and 1 by cc, we considered the total rate of heat transfer equation. So total rate of heat transfer is given by heat lost by the hot fluid and heat gained by the cold fluid. If we will compare these two equations, we can write that 1 by ch is equal to th1 minus th2 divided by capital Q. Similarly, 1 by cc is equal to tc2 minus tc1 divided by capital Q. So any doubt in these two relations, in these two values?
No, sir.
Good. So we are going to put the values of 1 by ch and 1 by cc back in our equations. So this is the value for 1 by ch and this is the value for 1 by cc. We can write that ln theta 2 by theta 1 is equal to minus ua th1 minus th2 divided by capital Q minus tc2 minus tc1 divided by capital Q. Here the denominator Q is common, so we can write it as a single term. While we are writing it as a single term, we are going to make some rearrangement so that we can get the values of theta 1 and theta 2 in the expressions. So if you will see theta 1 is equal to th1 minus tc2 in our case. So we will try to put th1 and tc2 values together. So here we have got th1, here we have got tc2. If I'll be opening the bracket, what do we get? It will be th1.
th1 plus th2, yes sir.
Okay, th1 minus th2 minus tc2 and plus tc1 divided by capital Q. This is what we are going to get after opening the bracket. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay.
No sir.
Now we are
No,
going to take these two terms together, th1 and tc2. So th1 is with a positive sign, tc2 is with a negative sign. We are keeping those two terms together. So th1 is gone, tc2 is gone. We are left with th2 and tc1. So what we are doing, we are taking negative sign outside. So if minus is taken common, the signs of these two terms is going to change. So we are going to get plus th2 and minus tc1. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. So after rearrangement, we are getting minus ua, th1 minus tc2 minus th2 minus tc1 whole divided by capital Q. If you will see the term th1 minus tc2, that is equal to theta 1 and th2 minus tc1, that is equal to theta 2. So the same expression can be rewritten as ln theta 2 by theta 1 is equal to minus ua theta 1 minus theta 2 divided by capital Q. We can take the minus sign inside. So if you will take the minus sign inside, here the signs are going to change and it is going to become theta 2 minus theta 1. Rearrange the equation, bring Q on this side, bring this ln theta 2 by theta 1 to the denominator, and we are going to get capital Q, rate of heat transfer is equal to ua theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln theta 2 by theta 1. Is this part clear? Any doubt in this part?
Yes, sir, but we are getting the same equation as of last
Yes,
time.
right. We are getting the same expression as we got in the previous case.
But
So
theta is
in
different,
this,
sir.
good, very good. So in this case also we can say that this particular value, theta 2 minus theta 1 by ln theta 2 by theta 1, that is equal to logarithmic mean temperature difference, that is equal to LMTD. So the relation for LMTD remains the same for both the cases. It is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by ln theta 2 by theta 1. But the values of theta 2 and theta 1 are different for both the cases. If you have your data handbooks, you can open the data handbooks. You can go to heat exchanger relations, and there you can find the expressions for LMTD. So in the data handbook, the expression for LMTD will not be given in form of theta 2 and theta 1. It will be given in form of temperature differences. So in this case, they will write it as TH2 minus TC1, which is theta 2 value, minus of TH1 minus TC2, which is theta 1 value, divided by ln of theta 2 by theta 1. Again, they are going to substitute the values of theta 2 and theta 1. They are not going to use the terms theta in the data handbook. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. Uh, this is the final expression for theta m for counter flow heat exchanger, which is same as the previous derivation, which is same as the previous case. Since we are getting this ln term, this is logarithmic mean. Hence, we will be calling this mean temperature difference as logarithmic mean temperature difference. So we are done with analysis of heat exchanger for parallel flow and counter flow using LMTD method. So we will solve a few examples, we will solve a few numericals on the same case, and we will see why this determination of LMTD is required. So before we go to the numericals, I will just explain you what is the application of this LMTD method. So say we have a heat exchanger. Suppose we have a parallel flow heat exchanger. So for the parallel flow heat exchanger, this will be the temperature graph. This value would be equal to TH1. This will be equal to TH2. Sorry, this will be equal to TC1. This is TC1. This is TH2. And the last one is TC2. Say that for a particular question or for a particular case, this TH1 value is given, TH2 value is given, TC1 value is given. This is the data given. For the hot fluid, they are giving you mass flow rate value. This MH value is given, CH value is given. For the cold fluid also, they are giving you mass flow rate and they are giving you a specific heat of the cold fluid. This is the data given to you. This TC2 value is not given. So if you want to find out this particular temperature, what we can do, we can go for the logic that whatever is the heat lost by the hot fluid will be equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. So here, if you will see, we can equate the equations as MHCH TH1 minus TH2 is equal to MCCC TC2 minus TC1. I will write the equations. So MHCH TH1 minus TH2. Whatever is the heat lost by the hot fluid is equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. So here MH value is given, TH value is given, TH1 is given, TH2 is given, MC is given, CC is given, TC2 is not given, and TC1 is given. So in this equation, TC2 is the only unknown So equating like this, we can find the value of Tc2. That what will be the outlet temperature of this cold fluid. Once we get all the temperatures, we can find the values of theta1 and the value of theta2. If we can find theta1 and theta2, we can also find out the LMTD value. So we can find out theta m value also. Now, say that the question is, for getting this desired temperature, for getting this desired outlet temperature for both the fluids, what should be the area available for heat transfer if overall heat transfer coefficient is this much? So they are giving you U value, they are not giving you area value. So what we can do, we can write that the rate of heat transfer is equal to U multiplied by A multiplied by theta m. This Q value we have determined using either this formula or this formula. From any of these two formulae, we can get the Q value. U value is given in the data. Theta m value you can determine because you know all the temperature values. So using this, we can find that what should be the area of the heat exchanger, which should be available for heat transfer. Or say that you have a particular area, the space is already given. So area value will be given to you, and you need to select the materials which will be supporting for heat transfer. So in that case, this U value will be unknown. So using the same relation, you can also determine the capital U value, that what will be the overall heat transfer coefficient for a particular case. Is the application clear to everyone? The screen is a bit messy. Maybe when we will be solving the numerical, it will be more simple. Are you getting the idea that why are we using this LMTD?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
we will go to numericals. Today we will be solving two numericals as per time. So this is the first numerical for us. We have a counter flow heat exchanger. Whenever a numerical is given to you, the first thing you have to do is you have to find what kind of heat exchanger it is, whether it is counter flow or parallel flow. Whatever is the type given, just draw the temperature variation curve for that particular type. So since we have a counter flow heat exchanger, hot fluid will be flowing from left to right, cold fluid will be flowing from right to left, and this is the variation of temperature which we are going to get. So on this side we will have TH1, on this side we will have TH2, on this side we will have TC1, and on this side we will have TC2. We are saying that we have a counter flow heat exchanger. We have drawn the temperature profile for the same. In this counter flow heat exchanger, water is being heated. So water is the hot fluid or the cold fluid?
Cold fluid, sir.
Cold fluid.
Cold fluid because it is being heated up. Now it is being heated from 25 to 65. So what is the inlet temperature for this cold fluid?
25 degrees Celsius.
25. So here we are writing that TC1 value is equal to 25. This is how you need to see the given data. If you cannot take the data properly, you cannot solve the questions. If you can take the data properly, there is nothing else to be done in the question. The only thing you have to do is take the data properly, and direct formula will be given. You have to put the data in the formula. So TC1 value is equal to 25. It is heated from 25 to 65. So the outlet temperature of the cold fluid must be 65. And here we are getting that this TC2 value is equal to 65. Any doubt till this part?
No, sir.
Okay. Then they are saying that it is being heated by oil. So since it is being heated by oil, what is the hot fluid for us?
Oil.
Oil is the hot fluid. So oil with a specific heat of 1.45. So here we are saying that CPH value is equal to 1.45 kilojoule per kg per Kelvin. It is the specific heat for the hot fluid. It is the specific heat for oil. Now, the data can be given as a specific heat, or they can also give you heat capacity. you need to be careful about that, whether they are giving you a specific heat value or heat capacity value. If they are giving you specific heat, it means it is a small c. If heat capacity is given, that is capital C. So CPH value is given, and oil with mass flow rate of 0.9 kg per second. So this is the mass flow rate of oil, or it can be taken as mass flow rate of the hot fluid. Be careful with the unit. Most of the times the unit will be given as kg per hour. Kg per hour. So in this case, you need to convert this in kg per seconds. So you need to divide this by 3600. In our case, it has been directly given as kg per second. So our unit is fine. Is this part clear to all? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, the oil is cooled from 230 to 160. What does it mean? It means that the oil was entering at 230 degrees Celsius and was leaving at 160 degrees Celsius. So our TH1 value is equal to 230 and our TH2 value is equal to 160. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. So for the data, what they are giving you all the four temperatures. They have given you TH1, TH2, TC1, TC2. TC1 is given, TC2 is given, TH1 is given, TH2 is given. Since all the four temperatures are given, can you find out logarithmic mean temperature difference? Can you find out LMTD? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Everyone can find out LMTD for this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do one thing, find LMTD and tell me what LMTD is equal to. We will check the answers. Note for finding LMTD, you can take the temperatures in Kelvin or you can also take the temperatures in degree Celsius. Because LMTD is theta1 minus theta2 divided by ln theta1 by theta2. Theta is temperature difference. Whether you take these two temperatures in Kelvin or degree Celsius, the temperature difference value remains the same. What is theta1 value equal to?
TH1 minus TC2, that's 165
Yeah, 165.
degrees Celsius.
Okay, good. Theta2 is
135 degrees Celsius.
fine. So find theta m.
$149.4986.
149.4986. So maybe
Yes, sir. 4986.
149.5 or 150 can be taken as the LMTD value.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll see the next slide. They are getting 149.5 as LMTD value. We will keep our value as it is, and later we will see how to use this LMTD value. So for now, we know how to find out logarithmic mean temperature difference. Later, we will see the application of the same. Now, for this data, they are asking you to find out different things. First is find the rate of heat transfer. So for finding the rate of heat transfer, we have three different formulae. First is MHCH TH2 minus TH1. Sorry, TH1 minus TH2. This is the heat lost by the hot fluid. Or we have one more formula. The second formula is MC CC TC2 minus TC1. This is the second formula. Or we have one more formula, that is U multiplied by A multiplied by theta M. Depending upon the data given, which data has been given entirely, you are going to use the formula to find out rate of heat transfer for any question given. Now in this case, we will see what is the data given to us. If we will see the first relation, is the mass flow rate of the hot fluid given to us?
Yes, sir.
No. Okay. Is the heat capacity for the hot fluid given to us?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So mH value is given, CH value is given. Is both the temperature values are also given?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for this relation, we can, using this relation, we can find out the rate of heat transfer. We'll just go to the next one. We will see what is the unknown value. So
Sir,
for
I have a
the,
doubt.
yeah, please ask.
Sir, I don't know whether I'm right or not,
Yeah,
but
ask.
sir, there is a statement that heat lost by the oil is equal to heat gained by the water.
Heat lost by oil is equal to heat gain by water. Yeah, correct.
Yes, sir, but if I see the difference between that 25 to 65 and
Yeah.
230 to 160, but
Hmm.
both are not matching, no, sir.
Because their heat capacities are not same. We are not equating the temperatures, right? See, TH1 minus TH2 is not equal to TC2 minus TC1. We are multiplying the differences with capital CH and capital CC. So if this term is lower, maybe the capital CC term will be higher.
Okay, sir.
See, suppose I am writing 4 multiplied by 3 is equal to 6 multiplied by 2. Can we write like this? Yes, no? 4,
Yes, sir. Yes,
4
sir.
3s are 12, 6 2s are 12. This is the temperature difference for first case. This might be TH1 minus TH2 value. This might be TC2 minus TC1 value. So both the temperature differences are not same. Still the product is same. Are you getting this part?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pakka.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. So if we will see the second expression, that what is the heat gained by the cold fluid? In the second expression, what do we have? We have got MC. MC is mass flow rate of the cold fluid. The cold fluid for us is water. Have they given the mass flow rate of water?
No, sir.
No, it
No,
has
sir.
to be determined in the second part of the question. That find the mass flow rate of water. Have they given you CC for water? What is the
No.
specific heat for water? But do
No,
you
sir.
know the CC for water? What is the specific heat for water?
4.187, sir.
Good. It is 4.187 kilometers, meters. What is the unit, sir?
The same kilojoule per kg Kelvin, sir.
Very good. 4.187 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. In any of the question, they will avoid giving C of water. So this will not be taken as an unknown value because they are assuming that you already know the specific heat of water. Is this part clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
even
sir.
if you forget it, in the data handbook, in the property values, properties of liquids, go to water and you can find the specific heat of water. So CC value is known. CC value is 4.187. They have given you the temperature values. TC2 and TC1 is known. Here MC is unknown. So what we can do, we can find the rate of heat transfer using this formula. Equate the same with heat gained by the cold fluid. Equate the same with MCCC delta T. So in this expression, MC is unknown, Q is known, CC is known, TC2 is known, TC1 is known. So can we find out the mass flow rate of the cold fluid? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. The last part of the question says, find the surface area of the heat exchanger. So we have the Q value with us. This Q is also equal to U A theta M. Do we have theta M with us? Theta M is LMTD. Can we find out LMTD?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got LMTD as 149.5. All the temperature values are given. So we can find out theta M. U value is given in the question. U is given as 420 watt per meter square degree Celsius or 420 watt per meter square Kelvin. So in this expression also area is the only unknown. So we can equate it with rate of heat transfer. Rate of heat transfer is known. In this equation, area is the only unknown. So we can find the area of the heat exchanger. Is that clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first part is find the rate of heat transfer. Rate of heat transfer, we have used the first relation because all the data for the first relation was known. So rate of heat transfer is mH CPH TH1 minus TH2. Note that they are using CPH. So CP means specific heat at constant pressure. CPH means specific heat at constant pressure for the hot fluid. Instead of writing CPH, you could write CH also. This is also fine. In our derivations, we have continuously used the term CH, not CPH. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can either write CPH or you can write simply CH. So Q is equal to MH, CPH, TH1 minus TH2. All the data is given. So putting the values in the formula, we have found out the Q value. So Q is 91.35 kilojoule per second or 91.35 kilowatts. Mass flow rate of cold fluid. So we have equated 91.35, the rate of heat transfer with mCCC delta T. So in this expression, mc is the only unknown. So we can find the value of mc. Is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
The
sir.
last part of the question says find the exchanger. So for finding the surface area, we are going to equate this Q with UA theta M. Here, U value is directly given in the question. It is given as 420 watt per meter square degree Celsius. Theta M value has to be determined. So theta M is equal to theta 1 minus theta 2 divided by ln theta 1 by theta 2. For that, we will draw the diagram for counterflow. So on this side, we will get theta 1 value. On this side, we will get theta 2 value. Substitute the values of theta 1 and theta 2 in the expression. So theta 1 is equal to TH1 minus TC2. Theta 2 is equal to TH2 minus TC1. Now in your data handbook, the formula given will be this one. This is the relation which will be given in the data handbook. They are not going to give you this relation. So even if you don't remember the relation in terms of theta 1 and theta 2, it is fine. And you can solve the question without drawing this diagram also, because you don't have to see what is theta 1, what is theta 2, if you are referring to the data handbook. But if you are solving the same question in some competitive exam, for that always draw the diagram to be clear with the values of theta 1 and theta 2. Any doubt in this part? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So once we determine this LMTD value, once we determine theta m, we can substitute the value of theta m in this expression. So Q value is known, U value is given to us, and theta m value we have determined. So we can find the value of area from this particular equation. And area is 1.45 meters square. Any doubt in this question? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. We have one more numerical with us. So you want me to solve that numerical, or you are done for today?
Next class.
Okay, fine. So I'll take the attendance, then you can leave the class. Any doubt in the topics taught today? Anyone? Or in the topics taught in the previous class?
So in case CPC had been given instead of CPH here, then do we have to refer to the data handbook for the value of CPH?
I'm not getting you. Not getting you. Not getting you.
Value of CPH here.
Yeah.
Had they given us the value of CPC, we would have still been able to determine everything.
See, if it is a,
but
if it is a liquid, so for a liquid, again repeat the question. I'll just write it down.
no. What I'm saying is, instead of the values of CPH and M dot H, they had given us the values of CP M dot C.
Okay, CPH is not given to you.
M dot H is not given.
M dot H is not given to you. Okay, fine. Then
Instead, CPC and M dot C is given.
CPC is given and M dot C is given. Okay, fine. Then
Then do we just determine the value of CPH by means of the Q, or do we have to go to the data handbook for it?
see, if both the values are not given, you cannot find both the values separately. Here, one of the values must be given to you. Or
So
you
we
can
have to refer to the.
you can simply find out capital CPH value.
So we need not refer to the data handbook and find out CPH separately.
You can, if they are asking you the value separately. If they want you to refer to the data handbook, they are not going to ask that finds CPH value in the question. They might ask you to find out mass flow rate of hot water, mass flow rate of hot fluid. If such a question is given, suppose that CPH is also not given, MH is also not given, and they want you to find out mass flow rate of the hot fluid. In that case, you can refer to the data handbook and you can find the CPH value.
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
But such a question will not be coming in the exam. Always one of the data will be given. Either they will give you CPH value or they will give you MH value, or the fluid taken will be water. If the specific heat is not given, always the fluid taken will be water, and the specific heat will be 4.187 kilojoule per kg Kelvin.
Okay,
So
sir.
then what about capital C, sir?
Capital
Sir?
C is the product
How do
of
we
both.
use that data? Oh, okay, sir.
Capital C is the product of both. So we have used capital C so that we can avoid writing this MC each time. Instead of writing MC, we can write that as capital C.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Sure,
someone
thank you,
else was asking out.
Sir, me.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
Aditya told it will be if MC and CPC is given.
Okay, MC is given and CC is given. Yeah.
That was his doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Not CPH and MH.
Okay, MH is not given and CH is not given. Yeah, fine.
Can we use MC, CC, and TH, TC1 minus TC2?
Yeah, we can use that. MC, CC, TH1. Again. MC, CC, TH1 minus TH2.
No, TC1 minus TC2.
It will be TC2 minus TC1. You can use that formula.
TC1. Correct. TC2 minus TC1.
Yeah, you will have to use that only to find out heat transfer because only these values are given, right?
Yes, sir. No, he was asking about finding out something from the data handbook.
So he was asking if this value is given and MH and CH both are not given, and here in the second part of the question they are asking you to find the mass flow rate of cold fluid, or sorry, find the mass flow rate of hot fluid over here. So in
Okay.
order to find out this MH value, we are going to equate this one as MHCH TH1 minus TH2. If you will equate these two, here Q is already known. Here the entire data is known. So this part is done with. Here T2,
Yes, sir.
TH2 value is given, TH1 value is given. But here we have got two unknowns. So since we have two unknowns, we cannot find out MH value or CH value. So what you can do in such a case, you can refer to the data handbook and you can find out the CH value. If you get the CH
Okay.
value, you can find out the mass flow rate of hot water. This was his doubt.
Okay, sir. Understood.